Hey there, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Fdt'S with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. If you don't know me and you just landed here, I'm glad you're here. Hope you stick around. I am a tarot and oracle reader. I've been doing it for years, certified, and I'm also a former newspaper journalist. So kind of gives you an idea of my approach. Try to be down to earth, look at what's really happening, and then we go to spirit and get a little more context for it, all right? So never any shortage of things to look at. I want to check in with you guys today about a couple of things. Things are happening rapid fire. In regards to Judge James Boasburg. So we know he has said he's found grounds for contempt of court. But the thing is, he has to now determine who exactly was the rank and file of who made those calls about keeping the planes going when they decided to deport and go to El Salvador, and they refused the order to turn the planes around. So he said, that's it, I'm done with y'all. I've got grounds for contempt. I want to go to spirit and see how that's going to play out, because we know if he does that, he sends it to the Department of Justice. Where does it go? What do we really think Pam Bondi's going to do with that, right? So now it's what are his options? And his options are perhaps to appoint a special prosecutor. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Wouldn't we all like to see Jack Smith? Wow. Wouldn't we like to see Jack Smith come back center stage on that one? But also it begs the question of who would be put in that position and how that would play out. But also, I want to take a look at Scotus, because this is all going to wind up back in front of them. They handed down that 9-0 decision in regards to, look, you need to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who we know. We've been hearing it all over the news. Also, we saw that, what's his name? The senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen. Finally was able to sit down with him. We saw the stunt that Bukele and his crew played with trying to make, they were sipping margaritas. Like, come on. But I get the sense, you all, that that's not the end of it. That this proof and the senator's willingness from Maryland, his willingness, Van Hollen's willingness to go there and be persistent, and initially was turned away, went back. That's not going to be the end of it. I'm getting a sense that they are going to face a crossroads with either having to. Bondi has even said, well, then we may have to build more facilities here in the U.S. to handle, the immigration situation. Maybe that was the plan all along, but I do feel, I'm getting a sense this whole I don't know what that was. If you heard dog barking outside. This is going to blow up in a major way. It is not going to go away, and I want to take a look now and see what SCOTUS is going to do, how they're going to come down. Will they hold the administration accountable and actually render a stronger decision? Because even though that first decision about they must facilitate, the wording of it was still a little iffy, you all. They said, yeah, you must facilitate it, but at the same time recognizing the deference, I think that's in quotes, the deference of the court towards the executive branch and the powers of the executive branch to dictate foreign policy, which has been their clapback to justify the illegality for entertainment purposes only, right? Got to do that. So, Spirit, will SCOTUS, when this goes back to them, because it is, when this goes back to SCOTUS, will they render a stronger decision directing Fdt'S administration to return Garcia? Will they stand behind their initial decision? Oh, wow. We have the Ace of Swords. Uh-huh. Now, because aces are, if you've ever been with me before, or if you're new to me, when I read aces in tarot, I read that as a yes and a prompting from spirit saying we're on the right track with that. So, SCOTUS, 8 of Cups, Is this them walking away? Eight of Cups is, if you're not familiar with tarot, Eight of Cups is an energy typically where you've had enough and you're ready to walk away from something. Is that Eight of Cups spirit? Is that Scotus walking away from their unyielding loyalty to FDT? We have the Eight of Wands. And the message on that card, they give you little clue words, is self-confidence. You know what? And I noticed that that's two eights back to back. Infinity, things coming full circle. This is something, you all, where I do believe, and really hesitate to put too much faith in Scotus based on so much of what they've done. And the fact that we are in this position because of their decision around presidential immunity. But there's a desire for them to reassert their power and to reassert their voice. So will they make a stronger directive to the administration to return Garcia? Triumph. I think so, you all. I think that we're going to see, when this gets back to Scotus, we're going to see them. I don't know about a 9. I think we're going to start to see some dissent there. It won't be a 9-0. Am I right about that, Spirit? Yeah, cooperation. There will be enough. That feels like a 3 of Pentacles. So that's enough of the justices to come together to render a stronger opinion and directive to the administration to release Garcia, and thereby reinforcing the whole issue of due process and these deportations being devoid of any type of due process. So yes, Scotus is going to back up that decision. Now we also know they have the birthright issue before them. I'm feeling a little queasy about that one, you all. I'll ask Spirit. Birthright citizenship, is that in jeopardy in front of the Supreme Court? Is that in jeopardy? Birthright citizenship, Spirit, is that in jeopardy? Will the Supreme Court backtrack on that? Or will they uphold it? Birthright citizenship. Will the Supreme Court uphold that, or will they cave? Birthright citizenship. All right, we have clarity. Ace of Swords. So that's their decision. And the decision, they're going to say there's some sort of, this is constitutional order. This is Emperor energy. Will they uphold it? The 2, Union. Wow. Because I'm telling you, I was sort of feeling like watch him cave. Watch him do another, reproductive rights, kind of just completely reverse everything they ever stood for. But there's a union there. And there's the Empress who comes. She's called Mother Nature in this card, in this deck. Somebody may ask, I'm using the Sacred She Tarot. The Empress, birthright, giving birth. This is definitely, we're on track. We may be surprised. Enjoy the sun, life. This may come down. They may come down on the right side of this in terms of protecting birthright citizenship in this country. It's been standing law forever and ever and ever. So yeah, Scotus might render some interesting decisions here. Of course, we know how they word things, and they're very crafty with trying to appear to at least, somewhat appease FDT. But as the energy stands right now, you all, it's looking pretty darn good with regard to them. They've already rendered their opinion and decision regarding the return of Garcia. So they're going to double down on that. I'm not so sure again about the majority. I don't know if we're going to see another 9-0. Certainly would be good to see them hold fast to that. And birthright citizenship at this point is looking pretty good. So I want to move on now to this whole thing with the Fed chair, Powell, and him threatening, I can't wait till he's terminated. He said yesterday, I could get rid of him anytime that I want to. But Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, is, old Wall Street billionaire. Can't get my words straight today. That, he's been in his ear and supposedly losing favor with the inner circle around FDT, because he is one of the people who is stressing caution and pump your brakes, and you don't want to come across as absolutely being an enemy of someone who has, by all accounts, done quite a job in dealing with inflation and being real about it and managing to bring it down from the peak during the COVID era, right? So I want to take a look. Spirit, is the future of Jerome Powell, is he going to be ousted? Will FDT and his inner circle, will they move more forcibly against Powell? We have justice. They call it balancing in this deck. And we have right behind it the judgment card. They're going to continue to really antagonize Powell. And but at the same time, there's a value that he has in terms of being a voice to help stabilize the markets, Powell. And they want to try and string that along, because ultimately I'm getting from this, they don't have a satisfactory someone who they know will do what they want them to do if Powell were to leave. And we have the Voyager Wheel of Fortune in a standard deck. So they're going to play this game. They're going to play it along with him. They're going to continue to try and antagonize him to hope that he would ultimately throw up his hands and go. But Powell has said, I'm not doing that. I know what I'm doing here. I know my purpose. And there's the Lovers. The decision. It will be his decision. And he has said that. And Order again, the Emperor. So this is more bluster from FDT saying, I can do whatever I want whenever I want it. But you all, Jerome Powell has tremendous power in this situation, and he has tremendous respect within the financial markets. I don't see him. He certainly is not going to be another one to back down and just cave. By no means. He means exactly what he said. He knows what he's doing. He's being honest. He is extremely well regarded. Now, that could cause more dissension between Bessent and the Trump's cabinet. Spirit, is Bessent going to leave? Scott Bessent, is he going to leave either because voluntarily or get put out? Is Bessent going to leave the cabinet? He's out. Ace of Swords comes back. So and when he does, that's actually, it's going to, on the face, be another indication of just how there's no one who has a grasp on reality in the markets within that cabinet. There's no one left. But on the other hand, it's going to strengthen the opposition. It's going to really begin. That house of cards is going to crumble over there in that White House. Watch and see. All right, you all. What else? Good news. I want to close out today's reading with some good news. So we know that these law firms, these high-profile law firms that sold out, basically, and bent the knee and said, okay, we're going to give you, hundreds of millions of dollars collectively in pro bono services, right? But from what I'm understanding, and both what I've read in the news and research and what I'm getting spiritually, you all, is they did not agree to what they're going to be asked to do. The DOJ is becoming increasingly overwhelmed. Bondi completely in over her head, again, for entertainment purposes only and for spiritual purposes only, right? She's in over her head. These lawsuits, as they continue to multiply across all sectors, right? Across all these different, hundreds of them now, executive orders that have come out and that are being resisted, and lawsuits are being filed and multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. They don't have the personnel. And that was why Spirit is saying that was one of the reasons why there was this directive and this urge to go and find representation for free by these high profile law firms, because they need more boots on the ground for on their behalf, okay? But these firms did not sign on. They signed on supposedly to help further some of the GOP's causes, but not to champion some of these other issues that they're doing that, again, border on illegality. It's not outright illegality. And that's what's being brought up in the courts. It's illegal. The firings are illegal. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Federal worker firings in particular. So I'm getting that some of these same law firms that sold out or appeared to sell out and said, okay, this is what we're going to do, they're going to backtrack. And I don't know if it's outright betrayal, or they'll let the cases languish, or they'll find ways to delay. But that I don't see them forcefully. Spirit is like, they're not going to just forcefully champion, because there's a lot of resentment that they were put in that position to begin with. So we have the Six of Cups, passion for what they do, passion for their own self-determination. Meaning, they want to still remain respectable. And at the same time, while they were playing politics, they recognized that with the Six of Cups, they're like, whoa, wait a minute, we need to backtrack and revisit how we got sucked into this. This is not the flow in Cups. This is not the flow that we meant to go in, the direction we meant to go in. And we have Temperance comes up. They call it the Dream Weaver there. So there's negotiation. That's an energy where you've got two. On the one hand, yeah, we realized that we did say that we would help you out. We would do this pro bono work, but there are areas and where we are not willing to cross that line and completely damage our reputation. That's what that is. And the Union, the Two of Cups. Interesting how there's so much watery energy is coming up here, because I feel like this is the flow. Spirit is like, this is the flow of the exchanges between the administration and some of these bigwig law firms. And this was not the Union. They're going to try and find a way to renegotiate or reestablish how they are going to, on the surface, honor their agreement, but in reality, back off from it. Am I getting that right, Spirit? These high-profile law firms, exactly, because they took on more than that's the Ten of Swords. They took on more than they could chew. They bit off more than they could chew. This will stretch their resources. Mind you, again, this is pro bono work. What law firms are really like all about that, right? Pro bono work. Then this is complete regret, and they're going to, and two tens back to back, regret and overload. 10 of Wands, too much. This is not what we signed up for. We do not have the capacity and the wherewithal to give this amount of work and manpower to defend the number of cases that are continuing to multiply. So yeah, you're going to see, and it may not be, they may try and keep it shush and duck and dodge it a little bit, but these law firms that signed on, or at least some of them, are not going to be able to carry out the unknowable. 11, I love that. Justice. they can't do it. It's too much. And they're saying, I think in the title in this card, Unknowable, I like that because it's basically like we cannot deliver what it is exactly that you want. We are willing to help you. We're willing to honor our promise to you, quote unquote, but it is too much. And we did not know going into this that you would expect us to cover these types of cases. Why they didn't know that is a whole other issue, but that's it. And a reset, three of wands. Like, I still want to be your friend. We're still with you. We still believe in your agenda. We're still supporters, blah, 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 blah. But what they say in lip service and what they're actually going to do based on what they're going to be requested to do or told to do, it's not going to happen. Now, on the other hand, attorneys and big firms, big and small firms across the country, pro bono work, are signing up and are going to be eager to do it. Is, if you haven't heard already, there is an organization that I wrote it down so I get it right. An organization that's banded together. It's called the Federal Workers Legal Defense Network. Federal Workers Legal Defense Network. Their website is workerslegaldefense.org. And this is, from what I understand, a nationwide association and network of attorneys who are being specifically trained, have signed up for and being trained to handle cases on behalf that are being brought and will be brought on behalf of federal workers who have been let go or been given these fork in the road emails, etc. So that is going to be quite something to watch, because those attorneys are offering their services. Again, this is also pro bono work, but this is something where the momentum behind it and the desire to see it through, and the idea that what they are being asked to do and being tasked with is legal, is appropriate. I want to take a look, Spirit. This Federal Workers Legal Defense Network, is that something that is going to be effective in helping federal workers who are at a crisis point? Is that going to help the federal workers? Federal Workers Legal Defense Network, is that something that's going to... Oh, absolutely. The Four of Wands comes right out of the deck. You all see that dancing, that's celebratory, that's commitment, that's movement, that's building. I think they're going to have no shortage of attorneys across the country, and Nine of Wands resistance. All right? I mean, easy, right? Even if you didn't read tarot, you got, okay, resistance. Like you can get that vibe from it. Yeah, this is Spirit's been saying the last couple of months, like, this is so hard to go step by step and watch things unfold, but that things would unfold. And so this recent development of attorneys who are doing the opposite of what we see those larger firms who bent the knee, but they're rethinking it. They're rethinking their strategy, but the federal workers are going to have assistance, you all, and all of the Six of Swords. Departure meaning the fact that they have been let go or are being pushed out or are being forced, and even those who are still there who are working under just incredibly dire circumstances and wanting to get out but still needing to make a living. Like, that's it. How do they have their way forward, their departure moving forward? And these law firms and attorneys, these pro bono attorneys, are going to absolutely be there. Two of Pentacles. We got you. We're ready to partner with you. We're ready to represent you to the fullest capacity of our skills. And we will see, Spirit, will there be findings in the courts on behalf of federal workers that have been unjustly targeted and let go? Will there be some reciprocity there? Yes. Hierophant, wisdom keeper, government, structure, authorities, that they will. This contingent of attorneys who are going to be helping the federal workers And again, pro bono. So like we're doing this because it's the right thing to do, but they will be effective and they are going to have an impact. And I don't know that that means they get their jobs back or they get monetary rewards. Generosity. Yeah, they're going to get some money. They will get some money, whether it's back pay, whether it's reinstatement, if they would even want reinstatement at that point, because remember we got that departure card, right? But yes, this is very good news for federal workers, and perhaps, if you came across this channel and you didn't know about that, maybe you want to take a look at that. Again, it's called the Workers Legal Defense Fund. No, workerslegaldefense.org. All right, you can get more information about that. All right, you all. I hope that was helpful. So much again going on, but so much of this is as well. I'm getting like Spirit is pulling back the covers, and really helping us see that all of this twisted chaos is step by step by step gonna blow back, and it's gonna blow back fantastically in ways that we just have to hang in there, and we will be instrumental, meaning we the people will be instrumental in seeing it through, and because some lines have been drawn in the sand at this point, and not backing down. All right, you all take really good care. For those of you who celebrate the holiday, I hope you have a safe and happy holiday weekend, and remember, chin up and our shoulders back, like relax, we're good, and remember to breathe. Really remember to breathe. Calm your nervous system down. Remember to celebrate life. Remember to celebrate every single blessing that we have, and those who love us, and those we continue to show that we love, and those who really need to be reminded that there's good in the world. All right, I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Bye.